Story time, you guys. I almost got scammed by someone who said that they were from AT&T. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have a story time for y'all, and you guys are not going to believe this. Actually, you might believe this. It may have happened to you. If it has, let me know. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I belong to AT&T, right? And my daughter wants to get on my plan, and I said that that was fine because I remember back in the day, AT&T always tried selling me an extra line. They're like, add an extra line for $20, get an iPhone 15 for free, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, right. Like, first of all, like, I don't need an extra line. And they're like, yeah, but you can upgrade your phone with the extra line and all this other stuff. Well, the time has come for me to get an extra line, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to see if it really is $20 or not. Like, I just want to look and see. My daughter's like, yeah, call and see, whatever. So first I called my local AT&T store, and they told me that they couldn't tell me exactly how much it is due to my plan that I have, that I should come into the store and they will explain everything to me and can like get into my account or whatever, but they can't legally do it over the phone. So it's just like, okay, well, if I call the 800 number, would I be able to like figure out how much it's going to be extra per month? And she's like, yeah, it will. She's like, but I will say this. She's like, come into the store to add the extra line, because if you do it online, she's like, we've had issues where AT&T will ship out a SIM card and people will like confiscate your mail, get the SIM card, use it, and scam you. And I'm like, holy shit, like, that's scary. I'm like, okay. And I don't know if she was just saying that because she wanted the credit for me to like come into the store and, you know, add the second line. I'm not sure. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call. And I don't know what I was thinking, honestly, but instead of going through my app and getting the telephone number on my app to connect to AT&T or like talk to somebody like on the little, you know, virtual talkie thing or whatever instead of a phone call, I decided that I was going to go on the interweb. And I went on the interweb and I typed in AT&T customer service. And the first number that popped up, like the first little thing, was something that was sponsored. So I was just like, like this sounds kind of shady. I don't know. This doesn't really look like AT&T or whatever. And I couldn't remember the telephone on the top of my head, the number, because I used to call it like a lot back in the day. But anyway, so I did the second one, and that one looked legit. It said AT&T customer service, wireless, internet, phone, whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. So press the little numbers on the little interwebs, and it took me right to calling. So this guy picks up the phone. He's like, hi, this is so-and-so through AT&T customer service. Can I have your name, please? And I'm like, oh, hi. I'm like, this is Angela, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, hi, Miss Angela. He's like, do you sing? Now, right then and there should have been my ding, 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 all my red flags, all the red flags going up in the air saying, okay, wait a minute. Usually AT&T doesn't ask me if I sing, but this guy said, and I was just like taken back, and I'm like, no, I don't sing. And he's like, well, your voice sounds like you sang. And I'm like, oh, that is so sweet. Like, who am I? Who am I to not catch this motherfucker? Like, what? So I'm like, no, I don't sing. And he's like, because your voice is so beautiful. It sounds like you're a singer. And I was just like flattered. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. You know, yeah, whatever. And so he's like, well, how can I help you today? And I'm like, I'm looking to add a second line. I'm like, I don't need a new phone or anything like that. I just want to add a second line to my existing account. And he's like, okay. He's like, can I get your telephone number? Gave him my telephone number. Can I get your name, spelling of the first and last name? Gave him that. He's like, how do you spell your first name? That should have been another red flag. And he's like, oh, that's really close to Angel. He's like, I bet you look like an angel. Red flag. So then he asked me what I do for a living. What in the world? And I said, I work for a gym. And he's like, do you meditate? And I'm like, I do daily. I do daily, but like, why would I tell this AT&T customer service representative that I meditate every day? Why does he care? What is happening? Why is he flirting with me online? It's so weird. But anyway, so then he asked me, oh my God, he asked me for the 4-digit code, security code to get into my account, which AT&T customers do. So I gave him my 4-digit little thing, and he said, oh, he's like, this is how I know that you meditate, from my 4-digit code. And I'm like, oh, why? And he's like, it's like a really, really good code, like a really, really good number for like meditation, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, what? I've never heard of this before. But anyway, he's like, I bet you work out. He's like, do you work out at the gym? He's like, your body must be smashing hot. Like, what? What? What is happening? What is going? And I still didn't fall. My wheels were turning. And he's like, I'm trying to get my girlfriend to go to the gym. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, he's got a girlfriend. Like, he's just a cute little guy, like trying to be nice to me on the phone. So then he starts asking me if my daughter wanted an upgrade, because he asked me what kind of phone she had. And I said, oh, I'm like, I think she has an iPhone 11. And he's like, then it's time for an upgrade. And I said, well, that's her responsibility. And he's like, oh, how old is your daughter? And I'm like, 28. And he's like, what? And he's like, oh. And I'm like, I'm 49. Stupid me. I told him how old I was. I gave him everything. I gave him everything. So then he's like, you must be gorgeous. He's like, you have the most beautiful voice. He's like, do you do a lot of social media stuff? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, are you on TikTok? This is what I figured after I hung up the phone with him. He got my telephone number, right? And I believe you can search people up with their telephone numbers on TikTok and on Facebook and on all the places. So he searched me up through my telephone and got all of my social media, could see. And you guys know how on most of my pictures, I do filters. I have them professionally done so they look like super, super good. And he probably saw all those and thought, oh my God, like, who am I speaking to? Whatever. Oh my God. Anyway, so the next question was the one that made me think to myself, I fucked up. I fucked up big time. So he, after asking me for my 4-digit code, my address, which I was a little bit leery about the address because he should have like verified it to me. But when I said my address, I like said it super fast, right? So he like couldn't get it. And then he asked for my zip code. Anyway, what did it for me was he asked for the 4 digits of my social security number, the last 4 digits. And that was the clincher for me. That was my red flag. So I said, wait a minute, bucko. You don't need the last 4 digits of my social security number because I just gave you the 4-digit code to verify in my account. And I know that the reason why AT&T has the 4-digit code is because they will not ask you for your social security number because you gave that code. So as long as you have that code, you don't need a social security number. So he did that. And I'm like, yeah, you don't need that. And he's like, oh, well, I do for verification purposes. And I'm like, no, you don't. I'm like, you don't need that. And he's like, well, I kind of do. And he's like, how's about this? He's like, how's about I send you a text on your phone and you can verify that code online? And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'll stay on the line with you and you let me know when you get that text. And I'm like, okay. So I swiped up and I got the text, and the text was from this number and this address to go to. As you can see, that doesn't look right. So he's like, hello, are you there? And I quickly hung up. I hung up so fast, because I'm like, what the hell is going on? So then I went to the AT&T app and I connected with somebody in the app, and then they connected me to a live representative. And I was speaking with this person and I told them what happened. And he's like, you know what? We need to change that 4-digit code immediately because they literally were trying to scam you. He's like, that was not an AT&T representative. They would have not asked you all of those questions. He's like, they wouldn't have asked you for your address. He said, because once you give us that 10-digit code, we have your address, your name. He's like, we have the last 4 digits of your social security. He's like, we have everything in front of us. And that code means that you basically give us permission to look at your account. He's like, so I have everything in front of me already. He's like, he was fishing for information. So we changed the 4 digits. I found out that the extra line through AT&T is $30, actually $35, I think he said with tax. And the activation fee is going to be $35. Holy shit. So I suggest to all of you, if you need to get a hold of somebody, even like on Amazon too or whatever, go through the app and look and talk with a live representative through the app. Don't search up numbers on the interweb and try to find things, because you're going to end up getting a scammer, and it is so fucking scary. Now I'm scared because I don't know who this guy was. I don't know who I was calling, where I was calling. Maybe I should call the guy back. Maybe I should call the guy back. That would be funny. He tried calling me again too, from a different number, which could happen, but from a number that was not the number that I originally called. But yeah, he tried calling me back, and I was just like, I'm surprised he didn't like text me back. And I can't do a phone call on my phone and record at the same time. So I wouldn't be able to like record the phone call. You guys, it's a Thursday. It's after work. It's been a long fucking day, and I wasn't thinking. So you guys, be smart and don't give out all of your information to people who are trying to scam you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to my story. Give this video a big thumbs up. Comment down below if you guys have ever attempted to have somebody scam you. Hopefully you guys have never been scammed. It's crazy. I even watch somebody on YouTube. I watch that guy on YouTube who dresses up as the grandma. You guys know who it is. I watch him on YouTube all the time. I laugh about it. I talk about it with my friends. This is crazy. Like, I don't know why I fell for this. My mind was just fogged, I think, by this guy, like maybe flirting with me or something. I don't know. It was so bizarre. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye, guys.